What's up, y'all? Welcome to the channel. Brian the Divine Healer here with you. About to bust a move on how to understand your birth chart. Too easy, right? As you know me, I take notes, right? Because there's so much to remember. You just can't memorize it all. So I'm here to explain it to you on simple terms. Let me move Mike in here a little closer so you guys can hear me, okay? How you doing? You doing good? That's great, okay? So grab your snacks, grab your drinks, whatever you got going on, okay? Might pull some cards later. I don't know. It just depends on how I feel. All right, so let's get into this, okay? So basically, we're going to get into understanding your birth chart, all right? What does that mean? Well, your birth chart basically is your birth chart. It's the day you were born, right? And it's basically where the, the constellations, the stars were lined up for you on your specific special day, right? It's too easy, right? So I got my glasses, right? Got to put them on because I got to read the stuff to you, okay? Because there's some pages, okay? Not that much. Like I said, I simplified it for you. So let's get into it, okay? So basically what it is called 12 houses, right? We got 12 houses. And it's just like a clock, right? Just like the zodiac is like a clock. Constellations are like a clock. Same thing with your birth chart. It's like a clock, okay? So what you got to do is you got to understand that this rotates counterclockwise, okay? And it's 360 degrees, obviously, but it's divided into 12 sections. 12 sections. Okay, each section represents different aspects of our lives. Too easy, right? So as a clock, the first house starts at 9 o'clock, okay? That's easy enough to understand, I would think, right? Yeah. So the first house, right? That's what we call each section is called your house, right? So you got the first house, second house, third house, fourth house, fifth house, sixth house, seventh house, on our way to 12, right? So your first house, right? Your first house in your birth chart definitely represents first impressions, okay? First impressions and fresh starts and your leadership, okay? So now when I speak of these houses and these constellations or zodiac signs, okay, you probably hear like, sun sign, moon sign, rising sign, Venus, Mercury, Mars, Jupiter, all Saturn, Uranus, all these, right? It's kind of crazy, right? So if you want to understand this and have your birth chart done, there are plenty of websites out there to get it done, right? I recommend Cafe Astro. They're pretty good with putting in the accurate information, but you need definitely first, you need the place where you're born, duh, and your name, right? But you're also going to need your exact birth time. Let me say that again. You can't estimate because it's not going to give you an accurate description. You need your exact birth date, birth time, right? Place you were born, we got it. And then it'll calculate, it'll show you all of the zodiac signs in each of your houses, okay? Because some people, it gets confusing. Okay, so I'm here to break it down for you, easy peasy, nothing sleazy, right? So your first chart, the first house, like I said, is your first impressions, your fresh starts. It's leadership, right? So you could have like Aries in your first house, okay? So then if you now have to understand what I just told you about what your first house means, now you're going to have to understand what Aries is all about, okay? So there's a little bit of studying going on with this, but it's not that difficult because once you understand each sign, each zodiac sign, like say starting off with Aries, well, then you're going to understand that Aries is very out there as far as they're in your face, they're on the go, they're ready to just take that lead and take charge, okay? And so that kind of energy as being Aries, that is the representation of your first house, okay? So then your first impressions with people, if you had Aries in your first house, would be, hi, this is me, right? Because that's how Aries are. They're like, look at me. I'm the first one here. I'm the best one. It's kind of like how Aries is, right? They're that fire sign, right? And so that would be your first house kind of thing. So people will get that impression of you in this way, okay? So let's keep going, okay? So then your second house is going to be your material and physical environment. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. It's pretty easy to figure out. Nothing with that. But it also is your money and your self-esteem. Okay. And so when you finish this video with me, you're going to understand each house of your chart, because there are 12. Okay. How you doing? Welcome. Come on in. Hit that like button. Throw up some comments if you want. Okay, we're on the second house. So that second house is going to be, like I said, your self-esteem and your money, your physical and your material environment. Okay, so however you're living, that's going to be a reflection of basically what sign that zodiac is going to be in your house. Easy enough? Okay, great. Okay, so now we're going to get to the third house. And that third house is going to represent your communication and your siblings, school, and community affairs. Okay. So communication is the way that you speak. Okay. And it gets a little deeper than that with just the zodiac signs, because then you're going to have planets. I know it's just way confusing. Okay. So let's say for your third house, right? You have Aries in your third house, but then you also have the planet Mercury, because Mercury is your communication. So the way that you're going to speak to people is going to be represented by the zodiac sign, which would be Aries. And like I just said, they're going to be fiery. They're going to be, hi, I'm up in your face. I'm number one. I'm first. Look at me, right? So that's the way that you're going to be talking to people. Too easy. I get it. You get it. That's pretty good. All right. I told you I'm going to keep these on very simple terms, so it's very easy to understand and no one kind of gets lost in the process, okay? So siblings is how you interact with, your brothers and sisters, obviously. The schools part, that's your level of communication, okay? Level of communication. I'm jumping the gun here. That's your level of education, right? I don't want to throw any bias out, as far as who's more intelligent, who's not. You can figure that on your own, because I think the way that let's say a Libra would learn compared to, let's say, a Sagittarius, they're completely different, right? We're not just talking about intellect. This is just a natural born gift of who you are. That's just kind of how that is. Okay. And your community affairs. So however you react or interact with your community is going to be reflecting on your sign in your third house. Okay. So like I said, you could have Aries. I'm going to use probably Aries for all of these examples, right? Because it is the first one and it's that easy, right? So if you're community affairs, it's how you are in presenting yourself in the community. So if you have that Aries placement, well, then you're going to be like, hi, right? In your face, because that's kind of Aries, right? So that's going to be that reflection of your community affairs. Too easy? Right. I think so. Okay. So now let's get to the fourth house. And the fourth house is going to be represented as your foundation, right? And what is your foundation? That's kind of like maybe your beliefs, how you've grown up, what you are running your life on, right? Some people were born into Catholic religion, so they grow up Catholic, and that is their foundation, right? So it's your morals, it's your values, and it's all those things, right? That builds your foundation, okay? But also with your fourth house, it's about privacy and security, and finally your parents, okay? I think you can understand how privacy works and security, how it works, because like I said, not every sign, your zodiac signs are going to be similar. They might be kind of similar, but not going to be the same, right? Because an Aries security is going to be completely different than a Virgo security, okay? So the way that the Virgo would look at their security, which means how they protect their most valuables, physically, mentally, emotionally, whatever, is going to be different than Aries, okay? So that's big. That's huge, okay? And so when you understand these kind of things, it's really going to set you good to understand not only one of who you are, because you're learning your house, your charts, right? You're going to understand the zodiac signs from Aries all the way down to Capricorn, right? So then when you understand those zodiac signs and their personality traits, then when you apply that to your birth chart, now you're going to understand the placements of that sign in that house to understand the characteristic traits of the zodiac sign to the descriptions of that house. Okay, so the fourth house, like I said, foundation. A Virgo's foundation is going to be different than an Aries. And when you understand the difference of how that works, then you get a better fine-tuning system to understand who you are, how you're going to act, and how things are going to be. And this is why understanding your birth chart is amazing, okay? Totally amazing. But you also have to understand how the zodiac signs influence things by their personality characteristic traits. Then we're going to get even more crazy, and we're going to put in the planets, because there are planets that do align with this as well, right? So the Mercury, just say the planet Mercury, right? That would be like your communication. So if you have Aries in Mercury in your first house, well, then you're going to be able to understand the characteristics of an Aries. Then you're going to understand the planet's influence of Mercury and how you speak to people under your first house, which is going to be the first impression. Okay. So it can be a little confusing, but once you get the hang of it and understand all three, it's easy peasy, right? And that kind of helps you not only with yourself, but it really helps you understand other people. Okay. So it might help you avoid bad relationships, bad decisions, bad, or good things. However, that, you're looking into it, right? So let's keep going, right? We're going to be on your fifth house right now. So your fifth house is going to be expressed by self-expression, romance, and creativity, okay? Your fifth house is kind of almost in the middle because there are 12 houses. The sixth house would be technically the middle, right? So your self-expression is how you kind of express yourself to the world, whether it's through artistic creativity, music, art, all these other kind of things. That's your self-expression, right? Exactly. So, romance, that's big. And I really feel that we should be looking at the fifth house with that part, because there are a lot of people that do, they don't understand how some of their relationships work out, right? Like, why did this not work out? I thought everything was great, blah, 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 blah. Well, when you understand that fifth house part in relationships, you're going to understand now what zodiac sign falls in that house and what planet influences it. So then it's going to be like, wow, it's going to be a revelation to you. I'm telling you, because you're going to know those characteristic traits. Then you're going to apply them to yourself, and you're going to say, well, this is how I act in a relationship, right? And then say, so you're an Aries, right? So you know how you're going to be romantic. But then say you get involved with, say, a Libra, you got to understand the Libra's characteristic traits and how they are, and that will help you fine-tune and understand if it's going to work or not, right? And that's huge, very big, right? And a lot of people are like, oh, I don't know. And it's kind of like the rules of math, right? If you don't know how to add, you're not going to be able to get to multiplication or division. So when you understand those rules and those principles, then you're going to understand the steps. You're going to know how to approach the problem, and you're going to be able to solve it. Too easy, right? I love it. Okay, so the sixth house. We're on the sixth house. We're in the middle of your charts. And the sixth house represents your health and service, and your diet, schedules, and routines. Okay, that is big, because that is more of like just you. Okay, you're not having any influence on anybody else, because your diet is just you, right? Your schedules and routines are just you. Okay, so if you understand that part, which is understanding the house, the sixth house, then you're gonna now have to look at what zodiac sign falls in that house. Let's just take Virgo, right? Virgo in the sixth house would be like, you're going to understand that your schedules are going to be on point. right? You're going to be making schedules. Your routines are going to be very strict. You're going to have the same routine. And that's just kind of the way a Virgo is, because they are very analytical. They're about structure, and routines and schedules. So that kind of fits in with the Virgo as the characteristic trait for that zodiac. So then if you know now that your sixth house is that with Virgo, now you're going to know how you're going to be. So then it's kind of like an enlightenment to be like, I was always wondering why I was kind of organized at the house, blah, blah, blah. But maybe when I go to work, it's different. I don't know. But to get that kind of knowledge is valuable. Okay. Like I said, this is going to be simplified, quick and easy, right? So now we're going to hit the seventh house. Seventh house is about partnerships and contracts, business, and personal relationships. Now that could be really tricky for a lot of people. Okay. Because understanding what you are about in this specific house and how you deal with partnerships and how you relate to contracts in your business and personal relationships is not only going to affect you on that level to be understanding of, well, now I know how I approach contracts. Some people, when they have a contract, they just skim through it and like, okay, I just sign it and be done. And that could be a different zodiac sign that is going to be different from, let's say, like Sagittarius to a Virgo, right? I'm going to use all kinds of terms and different signs and things like that. So if you get lost, throw something in the comments, you know what I mean? We'll hit it up and we'll really kind of dissect it a little bit better on a deeper level if you don't understand, right? But it's really helpful not only to yourself when you understand, one, your signs of who you are as a sun sign, rising sign, moon sign, right? But you want to go into the other ones because, you have Mercury and Venus and Uranus and Saturn and all those other planets that have influences on those signs, okay? And that's big because then if you get to know somebody on a personal level, you're going to know kind of their birthday, obviously. And if you understand the zodiacs, well, then you're going to know from their birthday what zodiac sign they are. Okay. So this is like multifaceted where not only helps you, but it's going to help you see other people, not just yourself. Okay. So then you're going to be able to really say, okay, well, if I'm trying to get into a personal relationship with this person who is an Aries, and, I might be a Capricorn. Well, then you're going to know your own characteristic traits, your own personalities. And then you're going to see that Capricorn, from understanding the zodiacs, their personality characteristic traits. And when you just kind of base gauge that way, then you're going to see how you could really mingle and mesh, if it's going to work or if it's not going to work, right? And that's very important, right? And it helps in a lot of different ways. And it's amazing. And I suggest everybody do it. I really do. Everybody should do their birth charts and understand their signs. And then it gets deeper than that, and you get into numerology and understand your life path, right? And now we're really diving off the deep end. But just say it, Okay. So now we're going to hit up the eighth house, right? The eighth house. The eighth house is going to basically represent your birth, your death, sex, transformation, property, money, and inheritances. And I think that's pretty self-explanatory. Now, I don't quite, this is kind of where I'm kind of getting stuck. Eighth house is, to me, has always been like the trickiest because with the birth and the death, like you're born in a certain sun sign, Libra, Gemini, Virgo, whatever, blah, blah, blah. So I don't know quite how that works with the eighth house as being the birth. Because if you already know your sun sign, well, then you know what sign you're born in. And for the death part, I'm not sure of that either. right? So that's something maybe I have to look into a little bit. But, with the sex and transformation, property, money, and inheritances, that's all pretty self-explanatory. That's really, finding how that stuff meshes, right? So your sexual compatibility with not only how you are on that level, but then if you understand who is in your sights, or if you're in a relationship, you're going to understand how that person is going to perform in that kind of sexual matter. So that could really eliminate a lot of issues, because if let's say your sign and another sign, they don't get along, the compatibility is not that great, well, then guess what? You can kind of avoid that. Because if you know these things, well, then if they're not that on the same level, like say sexually, or even the way they handle money, it's a no-go. You're going to avoid a lot of problems. And I'm telling you, it's just phenomenal when you start to learn this kind of stuff, right? And I dig it because I learned it from, when I was a little, was taught this. So really, I'm glad that I get to have this chance to bring it on to simplified terms for you. Okay. So let's hit up the 9th house, right? The 9th house is your higher mood, your higher mind, expansion, luck, and risk with your morals and ethics. Right. So with that being said, I think, your higher mind, like I said, I'm not trying to bash anybody, but I think there are different definite stages and levels of the different signs that have different levels of intelligence and different levels of emotions and all these kind of other things. And so basically, your morals, your risk, like in Aries, they're all about taking a risk. Not just in Aries, but most fire signs. They like to take the risk, right? They like to be out there. They like to take that challenge because it's exciting for them, okay? So then if you have Aries in your 9th house, well, then you know how you're going to act. You know how you're going to be in certain situations. You know what your morals are. You know what your ethics are. You know your risk level. So you know that if an Aries is kind of in your face and they kind of just do before without thinking, then you know your risk levels, right? And you understand your morals, right? And your luck. How lucky are you? I don't know. We got to find out whatever zodiac signs in your 9th house, right? Too easy, right? Yeah. All right. So now let's get to the 10th house. We're winding it up here, getting down to the nitty gritty. Okay, so the 10th house is going to represent your tradition, your public image, boundaries, discipline, and your career path. And that's significant. When you understand your 10th house and what zodiac sign and what planet falls in there, then you know for sure which career path that you were supposed to take. And that's easy to compare because if you understand, like I said, the zodiac signs, then you're going to know, well, there are certain careers that certain zodiac signs won't be able to be good at, and some will be really good at, right? Like Capricorn. Capricorn is all about business and money and just work, right? So if you have Capricorn in your 10th house, well, then you know what to expect. You know how you're going to be. You're going to be goal-orientated. You're going to be working all the time. You know what I mean? So then you're going to understand now how to approach your career path, right? Because you're not just going to get a job in McDonald's and be happy with it, because Capricorn is going to be like, I need more. I said, excuse me, this ain't going to work for me, right? I had dinner. I'm like, right? Yeah, so it's going to be like, it's not going to work for you because you need that challenge. You need to show that kind of 24/7. Just saying. Okay. So we're going to continue on to your 11th house. And your 11th house is going to represent groups, friendship, technology, social justice, and surprises. Surprises. You've probably heard that before when people are like, hey, I don't like surprises. I'm going to kung fu you if you just walk in my house and you're like, surprise, because you're going to be nervous and whatever. And that's just going to be basically off of your zodiac sign. It's too easy, right? Some people love surprises. They're like, I want surprises. I love it because they love that mystery. They love that unknowing. I'm sure Virgo does not like surprises at all compared to an Aries, right? Right. All right. So we're going to get to that 12th house, right? Your 12th house is about endings, afterlife, old age, subconscious mind. Okay. This one's kind of big too, okay? Because with the endings, I mean, that all plays into the afterlife and the old age, okay? And everything is in your subconscious mind. So I really think that subconscious mind applies to all of the houses, not just the 12th house, but that's just me, okay? But with the endings, okay, I'm sure that you've had somebody in your life that just couldn't let go, right? At least one point in your life. And if you understood who that person was according to their zodiac sign, then with that knowledge of that little bit of information of their personality and characteristic traits, then you're going to know how to approach to handle that ending. You see how this all works, my friend? The more knowledge you have is the better that you're going to understand, 1, yourself, 2, other people, 3, where the frig you're going to go in life. It's so simple, okay? Old age, that just depends because a lot of people are different. I'm going to use Aries again. Aries is go, 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 go. So they might have a shorter attention span than, let's say, a Virgo who is a hermit, a homebody, stays at home. We're not talking about DNA and all that other stuff where you're, born with your parents' traits and then you have, heart deficiencies and, whatever else that's health related. Not getting into that. But the old age part is basically you're going to know how it's going to end, how long you're going to live, how much risk you put into your life to last, right? And I'm not going to go into the subconscious mind because I really feel, like I said, that just goes into all of the houses. Okay. So don't forget that these houses, they are representations of aspects of your life. And it's very, very important to understand that. Okay. And the more that you know how this all breaks down, it sounds like a lot if you try to take it on at once and you don't know what the hell, right? It can be difficult. But I think that everybody should really know this stuff. They should know their signs for their birth chart. So you need to get your birth chart done, right? Plain and simple. I did mine, like I said, on Cafe Astro a long time ago, just to confirm what I was already feeling about how I knew who I was and what I was doing. It puts it in a better perspective of what your outlook on things are going to be. So it's kind of like a little fortune telling, but not really. Okay. It's just an inside tip for you to really digest and analyze who you are as a person and how you act in certain places, in certain ways, with certain things and certain people, right? And that is huge, because if you have that knowledge, not only for yourself, but for other people, then you're going to know how to, 1, approach things and situations and people, and how to not approach certain people, places, and things, right? So it's that insider tip that I think everybody should really know, because it is phenomenal to get the heads up, but it's a lot of information to take in. That's why I had to write this down, because memorizing all this stuff, unless I've been doing this for 30 years every day, I don't have it memorized. Most of it, sure, but I didn't want to skip anything for you. I did simplify it so that way you have a better understanding of how this kind of works out. But really, it all goes hand in hand. And I don't care who, anybody, whatever they try to say differently. This is the one up that we all need. Because to understand yourself, it's going to help you understand others. And if you understand others, well, then you know what to avoid. You know not what to avoid. And that goes for everything in your life. From the way you live at home, the way you deal with people in public, the way you have sex, the way that you deal with problems, the way you handle your money, the way your morals are. It's huge, people, right? So get on it. Get out there and learn it. Like I said, check out, I think I'm going to recommend it for sure, Cafe Astro. Cafe Astro. Check it out. Make sure that you have your birth name, your birthplace, and your birth time. And once you get all those, get on your birth certificate and look. Don't say, oh, my mother said I was born in 1105. You need very specific for that birth time, because otherwise it's going to be general. We don't want general. We want very specific, so then you can digest and understand exactly what you are, who you are, and how you're going to be. Yeah. So if you got any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments, right? I know a lot of people have asked me about their birth charts and things like that. And I've done birth charts for people, and it's quite a lengthy process when you get into it that way. So if you want it done, hit me up on my website, leave a comment, whatever. We'll do a personal, right? And then we'll get into your birth chart, because I really dig it, and I really feel that it is that ace in the hole. Okay, so I'm gonna leave it right there, my friends. I appreciate your time, your energy. I love you. Enjoy this one. Tell your friends about it. Tell your family. Bring them all over. Check it out. Right. Subscribe if you have not. Smash them buttons. Hit the like button for sure. And tell your friends all about my channel. Bring them on over. And it's Freaky Friday, Friday the 13th. So be careful. Be safe, be blessed, be brave, and be well, my friends. And I'll see you on the next one. And I am out.